I wanted to talk a little bit about MRO as a practice, and there's a couple names for this this area. MRO, maintenance, repair, and overhaul, is one name. Another name that some might have heard is service lifecycle management. I think maybe I've said this before, but service lifecycle management doesn't make any sense to me because it somehow implies that the service lifecycle is a different lifecycle than the product lifecycle. It isn't. It's the same life cycle. It starts from early conceptual design and requirements, and it goes through retirement of the products. But anyway, in a typical process for maintenance, repair, and overhaul, you have an asset that begins a procedure. In this case, we have an aircraft that's going to a repair depot. The repair depot has to induct that aircraft, meaning bring it in, inspect it. They have to tell the customer what exactly they found that's wrong with it. They have to go through planning to know what repairs or what operations to complete on that aircraft. Then they have to do scheduling because there's many aircrafts coming in at the same time. They have to keep track of the materials, the tools, the skills of their technicians that are actually performing the work. They have to go through the execution of the repair. And then, of course, they have to deliver the asset back to their customer. And on the other end, of course, you come out with a different configuration. You start with some set of parts, you perform some operations on those parts. Maybe it's just a matter of taking them off and cleaning them. Maybe it's a matter of replacing some of the parts with others. Maybe it's a matter of repairing. But the idea here is that you start with one configuration as the asset comes in, you leave with a different configuration as the asset ends. This is really where Aras's primary interest has always been. But what we find out is that there is a complex set of business practices, business processes that happen during this cycle. You have to do configuration management. You have to do the financials of ordering, billing, all those things. You have to report back to customers. You have to do costing and keep track of inventory. And you have to schedule your assets. You have only so many technicians. You have only so many tools. So you have to have this capability to schedule all those resources to have the right things there at the right time and make the most money. And so what we see is there's a couple things that Aras needs to do. We have to model the process as the asset goes through the process, but then we have to focus also on those capabilities. What does it take to do inventory? What does it take to finite capacity scheduling? But I did want to point out that this isn't only about aircraft. It's really any kind of asset. Rail is a very popular area for MRO. We see that our friends at Microsoft are already doing many of these kinds of practices in their data centers. They're keeping track of servers coming in, servers going out, new configurations, maybe new networking equipment is being included in their data centers. This is already beginning to happen.